Awesome. Thank you.
Great. So we got a new module there, and I made a slight adjustment because there's something with the name that I screwed up, so I'm using a copy with the old name. But with this module, we have a number of functions. And the main function there is to flim your container image. So internally, it's using the SlimToolkit, and it's the containerized version that uses the containerized version of the SlimToolkit engine, and also it's using the Docker daemon, containerized Docker daemon. It'll be a native version, but it works. It's pretty much the module we had at KubeCon with a few minor enhancements. For example, if I look at Slim and get help, there's a number of parameters that I can pass. The container, the target container that you need to specify, because that's the whole point. You take a fat container and you're going to get a minified container, and then there's a couple of probe flags where you can that are used to interact with the target container, with the temporary instance of the target container, and then a couple of flags for debugging. I'll use the up command, and I'm gonna minify the Nginx image. So it's doing a lot of things, setting up the Docker daemon service, and then pulling in the SlimToolkit engine, and now it started the Nginx container, the temporary container, and we see that it's an Nginx container, and it's listening. So let's see what happens. It's listening on port 8080, and that's what we got right there. So we got something back. So great. Now what can I do with it? Well, I'm gonna download it. One thing I noticed in the docs, and I know it's work in progress, the output parameter, I think it's called export path in the docs. So I got tripped by that a little bit. Oops. R slim container Nginx late. I'm gonna get a tar image back. Okay, great. Let's see what we have. We do have that tar image, and now I can load it. So I'm going to use the standard load command. Okay, and then I'll need to tag it. It's a little bit hacky, and then that's one of the things that will need to be improved. So Docker tag, I'll need to tag this image ID to have a nice name. Latest. Docker images. Head. Okay, we got the image. Great. And then we can run it. So this time it's listening on port 8888. And we got the results. So we used the module to create a minified version, exported the image in a tar file, and imported it locally, and then used it. So, and I'd say that's pretty much it. I can give a code walkthrough, but I think that's kind of the main thing to focus on, what it can do. And if you want to take a look, there's a Daggerverse repo in the SlimToolkit organization, so it's right there.
Thanks, Kyle. This is really cool. And was there anything when you're building this module, with everyone at KubeCon? I know you were learning while building, but is there any tips or tricks that you feel like you want to share with people who might want to get started?
Get a hold of Kyle and Solomon. They'll do it for you.
Kyle as a service sounds great.
Yeah, exactly. But it is pretty straightforward. I wasn't quite sure about the parameter names because, with different languages, there's this magic there that constructs the parameter names based on the language specific behavior, and then that's one of the things I wanted to double check during the KubeCon conference, and then just figuring out the optional parameters and just still figuring out how to pass a whole bunch of slimming flags because there's more than a couple of dozens of those, and it looks like there's a couple of interesting options there. So that way, you don't end up with a with a bunch of flags that it turns into a blur. So that's one, and it's using everything Dockerized, and that's one of the that was the easiest thing to do. And there's a module that others will be able to leverage. So if you need to interact with the Docker daemon, the module that Kyle created is pretty much the foundation for it. So it sets it up, and then this module, the Slim module, um, takes the image and it imports it into that Docker daemon service, and then it exports the output, and you can do whatever you want with it. So straightforward, but thanks to the guys, it was a lot easier.
Awesome. Thanks for that feedback. And for anyone, I see in the chat some people talking about modules and how to get started. We just in case people don't see the chat, we did put in some links around Project Zenith, which is how you can get started with modules. And then there also is a channel called Project Zenith. And if you have any questions around getting started, that's the best place to go. And Kyle here took the approach of coming to our booth and building one live. So it was great. And then, there is one question, Kyle. Did you show the number of files in the original versus Slim med images / containers?
There is no easy way to do it in the CLI. There is a way, but another tool. So I don't have that demoed, but the size. Oh, or do you want to see the size difference in megabytes or the number of files? If it's the number of files, there's no simple demo. But if it is the image size, I can double check.
Yeah, no, Kyle, thank you. I saw Solomon last night was so pleased with your module and how it turned out that he was showing, I think using Dagger shell and kind of the debug, and then just essentially doing like a find, and then piping it to word count and minus L just to show kind of the number of files between. And it was like, it depends obviously on what you want, what your probes are, I guess, what you want your final image to be able to do, what jobs you want it to do. But it was like a 10x reduction at least.
Yeah, there's totally forgot about the debug command that mounts the original and the minified images. Yes, that's probably an easier way to do it than what I was thinking. The size difference will be different depending on the base image you're using and the application. If you're interested about knowing what to expect, You can take a look at the examples repo. It has a whole bunch of examples for different stacks, Node, Python, Ruby, Java, etc., with different base images, Ubuntu, Debian, Alpine, Distroless, and all. So depending on what you're using, you're going to get different results. And you might need additional
Awesome.
flags.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Thank you so much for joining us,
Okay.
Kyle. And yeah, again, it was great to see you in person last week. Okay, so now to next Kyle to